The Toronto Raptors are one of the most interesting teams heading into the 2022-23 NBA season. Coming off of a bit of a bounce-back year where they made the playoffs after being the 11 seed or something like that down in Tampa. They weren't even really competitive, but now they have a nice starting five of Pascal, SIAKAM, Fred VanVleet as their two-star players, Scotty Barnes, the reigning Rookie of the Year, OG Anunoby, who is a solid 17, 18 point per game scorer, and then Gary Trent, a guy that can go for 50 on any given night. However, they need some depth on the bench, so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how good the starting five is, and then how they can fill out that bench a little bit. So before we get started, make sure to like button and subscribe button if you do enjoy at any point, and make sure to leave me a comment down below. Now let's take a look at some of their offseason moves so far. They bring back two forwards in Chris Boucher and Thaddeus Young. Thad Young was brought back on a 2-year, $16 million contract to help give them some more veteran presence in that front court, and yet another 6'8", 6'9"-ish wing that the Raptors have so many of. And then Chris Boucher, 3 years, I believe $35.5 million, if I remember correctly. But both of them getting some good money there to come in and be nice bench pieces. Both of them, again, 6'8", 6'9", 6'10 forwards with length and athleticism. That's the Raptors prototype if you look around their roster, which is actually what we're about to talk about here in a second. But first, we got to talk about their guard duo. Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr., one of the better guard duos in the NBA. They're probably other than Malachi Flynn, they're about the only two guys on this roster below 6'5". But Fred VanVleet, he is a very, very nice defender for his size, even though he's a bit undersized at like 6 foot. But he can shoot the ball. Very good offensively, averaged about 20 points per game last year. And then Gary Trent Jr., a guy that has really started to come into his own here once he got to Toronto, looking like a steal of a trade because, of course, Norman Powell not even playing for the Portland Trail Blazers anymore. Man, that was an absolute finesse job by the Toronto Raptors. Now, of course, all these wings that we got to talk about. Let's start with Pascal SIAKAM, their leading scorer. Once he got back last year, this Raptors team was taken to the next level. They were, about a under 500 team, and then Pascal comes back, starts giving them 20, 21 a game, and all of a sudden, they're a playoff team, a 5-4, up there, 6 seed for most of the year. And then Scotty Barnes, the Rookie of the Year, another guy that Nick Nurse really, really likes, the front office really, really likes. He's even being held out, being untouchable in a Kevin Durant trade. That's how good, that's how highly valued he is in Toronto. OG Anunoby, a guy, of course, like I said, that can give you 15, 16, 17 a game, can play really, really good defense night in and night out, and his progression over the years, is linear. He's only gone up. Expected a little bit more out of him this year, but with the Raptors, having a very balanced scoring attack, it's all right. Then you also got guys like Otto Porter Jr., Julian Champagnie, and Delano Banton that, they're probably coming off the bench. Otto Porter Jr., the reigning NBA champ, and then Banton, we saw him playing some point guard for the Raptors Summer League squad. So you got to take those guys into account, and then you also got to think about, Chris Boucher and Thad Young, who were mentioned in that last slide that we already talked about today. Now, should they go out and get Kevin Durant? I feel like the consensus on this one is no. Put out a video on it. It's like the most viewed video on my channel right now. But KD, I don't think the Raptors are going to pull the trigger there. They would have to give up too many assets. I got about 700 comments saying that Scotty Barnes is not going anywhere. But if you have to give up Pascal or OG or anybody like that, I don't think they would want to. I mean, it's Kevin Durant, but let's be honest. Would he really want to play in Toronto? Not too sure. It is an appealing destination, but not the most, especially when he wants to go to a number 1 seed. Now, should they make a move? Should they shake up the roster a little bit? It has been reported that this trade has been offered to the Raptors, and it is OG Anunoby going to the Golden State Warriors for James Wiseman and Jonathan Kuminga. Now, these are, you look at the Raptors, Kuminga and Wiseman, those are two prototype Raptors players when you look at the length and athleticism on them. However, I don't think that they would want to make this move. Of course, Kuminga has all kinds of potential, and maybe they would regret this later on down the line. But I think they stick with OG here. I don't think, Wiseman's been a little bit injury prone. If he wasn't injury prone, I'd say, yeah, you do this because of your weakness at center, and you get the potential of Kuminga. However, I think you stick with OG here. I really like OG as a player instead of two unproven guys. So that's just my thoughts on it. Y'all let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, a couple of backup point guard options. These are two of the best still on the market, unless you want to go for like an aging Kemba Walker, which I don't think so. Colin Sexton right now, who has virtually zero trade interest out of Cleveland, and getting him, he's really, really good scorer. Not so much defense. He doesn't really fit the Toronto mold. But I think Schroeder would probably be a better fit with this team. He doesn't have to be a scorer. He can also facilitate really well. Sexton, of course, caught up in all that ball handling type stuff, or ball hogging stuff in Cleveland. So I think Schroeder will be the best option there. You look at their bigs option this year, it's not the greatest. Precious, I think that he's going to have a big year. I'm a believer in him. I think that he's going to come out and, prove some people wrong, because he only got like 23 minutes a game last year. So hopefully if he gets ramped up to like 30, he could play a bigger role in the defensive end and get some more buckets. And then Christian Koloko, the rookie, I'm not sure how much we're going to be seeing him, even though he is an absolute beast physically. I'm not sure how much of Koloko we're going to see. Now let's take a look at the lineups here, and I think they're running back that starting five from last year. Now, that backcourt that we talked about earlier, that's where the majority of the scoring is going to be coming from, unless it's Pascal SIAKAM. But Trent and VanVleet, it's a very, very nice scoring duo that Toronto will enjoy this season, and, they can hold their own defensively. OG Anunoby at that 3 spot, really like him there because, he can give you, like I said, 15, 16, maybe 17 a game, and play very, very good defense. And then you got Pascal, who's the majority of the scoring in the front court. Although he is, they don't have a true center to start, so maybe Precious gets some more run there. Or maybe Koloko, has a monster rookie season that nobody sees coming and gets that starting center spot. But for right now, I think Pascal will start the year at center while Scotty Barnes plays the 4, because I don't really think you can take one of these guys out of the starting lineup to throw Precious in. But maybe I'm wrong. Nick Nurse is a wizard. We'll see what happens. Off the bench, they don't really have a guard, unless you want to count Malachi Flynn, who by all means go ahead and say him down in the comments below. But he didn't really play too much last year, so I'm not sure how much they're counting on him contributing. So I'm guessing Delano Banton is going to be the backup point guard because, he played that in Summer League. Maybe I'm wrong, though. But you got lots of forwards like Otto Porter Jr. I feel like that was a very underrated signing coming over from Golden State. Thad Young, bringing him back. I think they brought him in at the trade deadline last year. And then Chris Boucher and Precious Achiuwa. I like this Raptors squad. I think they're pretty deep. They definitely could use some more guard depth and maybe one more big man, but we don't even have Koloko pictured here, so we will see. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe button if you did enjoy at any point, and make sure to leave me a comment down below like I said. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video.